Hello, my name is Kyle Quillen, and this is part 2 in my series on how to program in Java. This video is going to be based on the idea of sequencing. Sequencing is the idea that your code runs like a list of instructions. Think about each line of your code being the line and the set of order that your program language reads the code. Right now, we're gonna make a new file and I'll show you what that means. So if you don't remember making a new file, you want to go up to the top left corner over here and click File, New, Java. Then right here we're gonna type in public class test2. And I'm naming it test2 just for example's sake. As you can see, public and class are highlighted. For when you're writing in Java, you want to make sure you use a certain type of language. It's called syntax. It's basically the words that the program, or the programming language, understands. It's the language it speaks. So when we put public class, Java will then read it as public, meaning anything can access it, and class meaning it's its own program. Test2 is just the name I decided to give it. Now, if we go to save our program, we do Control S, and you can see that down here, the file name should match the class name up here. So we're going to save that, and it should go to the side right here. Now, we're going to type in public static, if I can type, public static void, main strings is capitalized, by the way, put 2 brackets, args, and then don't forget those squiggly colons. So first, as you can see, I'm organizing my code. This helps with readability. Making sure you name things with proper names is important, but for test2, that is anything, you can make it whatever you want. I recommend capitalizing all the words in it because it's just programming standard. It's called style, and you can look up different companies' styles on how they like their programs looking. If you want a good example, I would recommend looking into Google's because it's pretty standard and a lot of companies copy Google's style. And I think it just helps with reading your code, and it's very important if you decide to work in industry. As you can see, there's a star right here, meaning our program's not saved, so let's save that. Public static void main string args is something you should burn into your brain. This is what is known as the main method. Basically, when you're testing code, your computer will look for this main method and then run all the instructions in this and output it to your system. This is important because you can do this to make driver programs or programs that actually physically run your code. Later on, once you get into more advanced sections of programming, like multi-class programs, you will not really use the public static void main string args or the main method very much because it's just not necessary. But it is always good for testing your code at the very least. And when starting off, it allows you to make programs that you can run immediately. So now we're going to type in what it runs. So keep in mind, public class is the program. Anything inside of these 2 brackets for the main method will be ran. So it's important to make sure when you're making your programs, you have public class name, public static void main string args. So you should write it exactly as it's shown right here. Keep in mind that the syntax is important, so spelling is important. It can only read exactly what you put down, which is good because that means you know the computer will always run it the same no matter what, but it's bad because you have to be very specific. So now we're going to type in system.out.println and then put hello world within these quotation marks. And then if you notice at the end I put a semicolon that basically tells Java where a line ends. Either looks for these squiggly brackets or this semicolon right here. So now we're going to save our code by doing Control S, and then we're going to compile our code so our programming language prepares it to be ran. So you do Control B, close the interactions menu, and it should compile it. As you can see, If there's any errors like I threw up here in my original draft for this video, it will tell you basically what line that error is on, and it'll do that when you go to compile your code. I always compile it multiple times sometimes just to make sure, and it's saved, so let's run it. And how you run your code is you do Control R. So whenever you run that, let's try it again. Oh, there we go. As you can see down here, it says hello world, and you just wrote your first ever program. Now, to remind you what sequencing is, as you can see, there's 5 lines right here, and Java went through each line until it found system.out.print, which it reads as, for the system outputs, we print on a new line, hello world. And that's what it did down here in our in and out menu. And that is the first ever program.